Well, to help us talk about this, Meki Al-Maghribi is the media counselor at the Embassy of Sudan in Washington, D.C. He's here today to address some of the concerns and take your questions. Ahmed Mahmoud is a freelance filmmaker currently in Khartoum.
Samahir Mubarak is a pharmacist involved in the protests. She's also in Khartoum. And Ahmed Kaduda, he's a Sudanese commentator coming to us from Nairobi, Kenya. And just to give our audience as well as you, a sense of what people on the ground are doing and saying and how this is affecting them personally, this is a photo that was tweeted into us by our community, but has really gone viral. An iconic photo of Mr. Anwar Mahmoud. It went viral just about a week ago. It's this sign he's carrying says, "I can't afford my heart medicine." We also have other tweets, people saying, "I can no longer buy my asthma inhaler. The type that I use is no longer imported." And I just, Meki, want to give you a video comment that, play it for you, that came in from Mina. This is what she had to say. Mina Omar, she lives in England, I should mention, but her family lives in Sudan, and she's talking about the price hikes specifically on medicine. Take a look at this.
I feel like now I have to worry about if my mother's going to take her medication on time or not, because she might not be able to afford it tomorrow, because prices are changing from time to time and actually from day to day. So people who are diabetic or people who need medicine on a regular basis will find it very difficult to buy the medicines, because now it's getting very, very expensive, and the people are not, and the salaries are the same.
So Meki, there you heard her say that the prices are going up, but salaries are the same. The government increased salaries for government employees, people in the public sector, by 20%, even as fuel subsidies, fuel prices going up 30%. What do you make of what she just said there, and what our first guest said?
First of all, I'm very thankful for this great and free show that based on interactive media and social media. This is very good. This is very nice to hear this. No one doubts that there is an economic crisis in Sudan. There are economic crises in the region. There are economic crises in other countries. And this economic crisis made this situation. Before coming here, I was watching a show, I think it's the same show on Al Jazeera TV itself, about the reason of the economic crisis of Sudan. So one of the speakers, he defended the sanction against the Sudan aggressively. And he asked to put more or smart or other sanctions on Sudan. I think we watch a lot on the media. We watch a lot and we read a lot and we explore a lot on social media. But we need to put all these things in account and to check the credibility of all these things. Are all these things true? Are all people that making this track to put all the blame on the Sudanese government and to defend the sanction and to ask for more sanctions to affect Sudanese people and to affect even the medicine sector? This kind of intervention can lead me to a question. A smart person asked me...
This excuse sanction is a recurrent sanctions. The sanctions have been placed since 1997.
Okay, the sanction on Sudan, especially on the medical, the sanction on Sudan, and especially on the medicine, on the medical sector that affecting Sudan, no one doubts that. The United Nations Human Rights Council, they appointed a special rapporteur for sanctions. And the special rapporteur for the sanction stated that it's hurting the Sudanese people, the patients, the medicine sector, the medical sector.
I hear you there.
So for me...
Samahir and Meki, I hear you both there. I hear your answer, because Ahmed Mahmoud, we have a slight delay going to the studio there in Khartoum. Ahmed Mahmoud, finish your sentence and then you can follow up. Meki,
no problem, no problem. Give the chance for the people.
Oh, thank you. The delay is severe. I was saying that somehow the Sudanese government always finds a way to around these sanctions to fund its war, and it had proved over and over again that it had no absolute political will to stop the war. Because, for example, recently in August, the rebel groups they agreed on the roadmap with the government. The government keep using the humanitarian card to refuse over and over to refuse signing with the rebel groups a peace deal. And it doesn't make sense, because if you stop this war, you're actually saving money. A lot of the reports coming out are saying that an airstrike, a daily airstrike, costs $30,000 a day. And if the government actually is suffering from sanctions, we would see that in the war. And just a reminder, there is one important industry, gum Arabic industry, that has been exempt from US sanctions since it was implemented in 1997. But we have never seen any development or that industry being actually brought to the light. We don't know who controls it. It's almost a taboo to the journalists to investigate this industry. So the sanctions is really a lame excuse, to be honest, Makki, Maghrebi.
Ahmed Mahmoud, you are an activist. Are you an activist for rebel groups or for Sudanese people about medicine, about food? Now you are defending the rebel groups. The rebel groups, they signed a lot of peace agreements. South Sudan, they signed 9 peace agreements with Sudan, but still supporting rebel groups. What I feel that this is the wrong answer for the wrong question.
The rebel groups took the initiative.
So I want to
fine.
You might keep
you got together with them in
Okay, you might keep defending the rebel groups. This is
I
not
want
the
to pause
case.
us all right here because our community wants to get in. They are the ones who pitched this show. Ahmed, what are they saying?
Well, you know, it's interesting. You know, Anas Al-Hag is chiming in saying the current strike has 100% valid reasons, especially with the life-saving medications. But there are concerns that he's echoing of other people. He says, I'm not sure about throwing the country into full chaos. A lot of people referring to the sanctions, I know you guys were in disagreement over it, whether or not they're a justifiable excuse for what's happening. But I do just want to quickly go back and remind ourselves, you know, we're talking about a lot of questions. I asked you a question about why the government is providing, you know, a 20% increase in salaries for government employees, but not for other people. You didn't answer that question. I'm just wondering why that's
I will answer this
why
question.
That's being done.
I will answer all questions. But let me finish something from my brother Ahmed Kadouda. When he talked about the US-Sudanese relations, now Sudan is under sanctions. The first cut for the Sudanese US diplomatic ties happened in 1967, and it was
You
issued
were taking
by...
us back to 1967. We are in
Yes,
2016, and people were on the streets.
Let me answer, because if you just portray that the problem in this regime that made this is international problem with US or any other countries, this is not true. If there is a political or if there is an international crisis from time to time, it happens even during the democratic regime. Okay, and the first step for the diplomatic relation between US and Sudan happened in 1967, voted by a democratic regime and supported by the Communist Party and by the Unionist Party.
What does that have to do with what we're discussing right now?
Okay, because when I talked about the sanction, he just put all the blame of the government. Okay,
well, if there is, do you think that the government plays any role in what we are seeing
I'm
today?
Asking.
That's a very simple question.
If there is a crisis between US and
Sudan,
has
been the same government for 27 years. The problems have been the same problems for 27 years.
Maybe Sudan
this has nothing to do with what happened.
Maybe Sudan.
So let me just chime in here.
And the sanction is unfair.
And saying that they're responsible for the poor and taking the conversation into talking about sanctions is not acceptable.
What is keeping this government is the ridiculous amount of the budget that you have allocated to your security system. I promise you, remove this budget, just stop arresting us and allow us to organize, and I give you a week, nay, I give you 3 days, and this government will be overthrown by the people, because you are putting all our resources into protecting yourselves. This is the bottom line
of the security because of the war that you mentioned, because of the war that you talked about, and you don't want to understand that the war is two sides. The government and the rebels.
It's not just a war. You
the
put
war,
that,
the war for two sides. The rebel and the government. If you have two sides, you blame one side and you defend the other one.
Well,
okay.
I think
so that you ask.
Maybe
what you have said, you said that the position of the rebels are fair and all things okay, and the position of the government is not right. This is what I have heard from you. No, they didn't took they didn't
so
take the initiative.
So there's a question from Samahir. Samahir, repeat your question.
Still the rebel groups shelling the city.
Repeat her question. Samahir, go ahead. Repeat your question.
The medicine market is a mere $300 million that the importers buy from the government, or from other exporters rather. If the government cannot afford $300 million per year, how is it covering its running costs?
Samahir, you are a pharmacist. Can you import medicines from Europe, from United States, and transfer money to United States banks and to European banks, because of the sanction, you cannot do that. You should take the medicine from the third part. You should take high medicine.
If this
you should
government
expensive.
goes,
You should take expensive medicine. Okay. The people of Sudan
So
is suffering.
Ahmed says
Even your
if the
sector.
government goes, then that would be possible. Ahmed Shahabuddin, what are you saying?
Well, you know, a lot of people, are referring to different parts of this conversation. I do want to get from Muzan Al-Nil, echoing some of what you were just saying there, Ahmed Mahmoud, saying the current regime and its crazy appetite for spending on wars more than it ever spent on service and development is what they cite as the biggest challenge. So he's not alone in thinking that, but I'm curious.
Do you think there is a government they like to spend on war? Do you think there is a government that love war?
But there are governments who, when they're spending on war, they're covering costs such as basic needs for their societies.
Tell me, what is the budget allocated for the National Intelligence Security Services in 2017? Just give me the number, please.
Whatever the number, the reason is that if you are facing the war, what shall you do? You don't spend money on.
Wait, here. So we've heard
your national security agency is building a club on Nile Street here in Khartoum, in my city.
So Ahmed Kadouda, what's that perspective?
The Sudanese people recognize that they have to change their tactics and operate in a way that allows them to send a clear message to the government. And I think the civil disobedience in and of itself has been very successful in that it showed that people are able to mobilize and are able to create, to send a clear message, not only to the government, but also to the opposition, which has failed so far to create a viable alternative to the government.
And no message for the rebels, Ahmed Kadouda?
Of the political process.
No message for the rebels movement? Message to the government, to the opposition.
Now he's talking about civil disobedience, sending
yes,
a message to the government.
But he suggested messages to be for the government, for the political opposition. What is your message to the rebel movements? That they are killing people, that they are shelling cities,
with all due respect,
that they are taking people.
I have to stop you there because what you're doing is very artful. You're deflecting all their questions with a question back about the rebels. You are not answering a lot of the questions they're asking, and you have yet to answer my question. But I say that to you respectfully. I do want to quickly go back to
I didn't mention the rebels. I was mentioning for rebel by our brother Ahmed Mahmoud, right?
This is true.
I didn't mention the rebels. But Ahmed Mahmoud mentioned the rebels.
Yes,
he defended the rebels movement. Okay. Ahmed Mahmoud, he defended the rebel movement. So
I mentioned the rebels, the fact that you refused to sign a peace deal with them.
Okay.
That is what I mentioned, Makki al-Maghribi.
Yes, that is what you mentioned. You also mentioned, Ahmed, if I may just interrupt you there, you also mentioned something that was quite a big statement, that in 3 days, if it were to be addressed the way you had hoped, that the government would fall. On that note, very quickly, Ahmed Kadouda, I want to ask you, we have a tweet from Anas Al-Hag saying, the regime is not our only problem. If you know anything about Sudan, you know we have so many more serious issues. A 27-year-old regime is deeply ingrained in Sudanese society. It won't go away easily.